All right, Media Day 9-5A Division Two, and I am joined with Sharpstown new head coach Matt Torres. Coach, first of all, congratulations on the job. And you get as soon as you got the job, you get thrown into a new district that looks a little favorable for you guys. Talk about the district and how you might survey it.
It's definitely been a change. You know, as far as being favorable, I mean, that's hearsay. We still have a lot of challenges in front of us. This being, my first year as the new head coach here at Sharpstown. The last 2 years, I was the offensive coordinator. And from when we first stepped foot on campus, there was a lot of challenges. We stepped on campus and we only had 7, 8 kids in the athletic period, and then we hit COVID and everybody goes home and we don't see the kids again until the first day of practice. So that first year there was a lot of struggles, a lot of changes, as far as um, cementing ourselves in the community and campus and with the students and the student athletes, getting them to buy into us when most, 90% of the campus wasn't even there. So that first year was a real struggle, but the kids that were there bought in, they worked real hard. And from there, everything was just able to grow. Year two, which was this past season, we showed a lot of growth. We were much more competitive in every game. We went from 1-8 to 3-7, which, on paper doesn't look like much, but when you look at past scores and we're only 9 points away from being in the playoffs, I think our kids now have a strong grasp of what it's going to take to be successful. They want it more. Now they actually look at the schedule and look at their opponents and start looking at, social media. What kind of players do they have? Who do they have? Instead of just lining up and saying, who do we play this week? Now they're actually taking the initiative to learn about their opponents and asking us questions and really wanting to dive into it more to be successful. I definitely feel that, playing, Fort Bend Marshall and schools like that the last few years, a lot of times can make people or make certain schools less interested and not wanting to go through that. And I feel early on, maybe that may have happened that first year with us, but this last year, our kids really were not afraid. They knew it was a tough challenge, an uphill battle, but they went out there and gave it their all. We didn't get any kids hurt, which the year before we did lose some kids in that game because, when you play to not get hurt is usually when you get hurt. But our kids went out and gave it their all. And I really think that some of those challenges have really prepared them for our new district, which provides some new challenges and different opponents that they've never seen before. But I think our kids are working really hard, and I definitely feel that we'll be in the running for a playoff spot this year.
Yeah, I mean, you hit a nail on the head when I said more favorable district. I exactly meant staying the heck away from Fort Bend Marshall and the tactics they bring to the table. It's a little bit better to be. They may not have seen them on the field, but you're in almost all IHSS districts, so they probably know a lot of the players from school to school, and maybe a little bit familiar. Talking a little bit about your season last year, yeah, you got the 3 wins, but those were 3 district wins, and those were, like you said, you're a couple points away from the playoffs. So, and the teams you did beat, you're seeing again this year in this district. They're kind of with you. So, I guess what I'm asking is, as you move from OC to HC, we'll talk about the challenges that may bring it, and what kind of style you might bring to the table with your team now that you're in with an HISD in Galveston Bowl.
Well, I mean, the style, I guess what made it work for me was the head coach that brought me into Sharpstown. He and I had worked prior at Eisenhower High School. So we had that relationship already. I knew coming in, he was, Coach Ojeda's an offensive guy and he wanted to do things offensively his way, which I respected. And the fact that we worked well together before, he knew that him bringing me in to be his coordinator, I wasn't going to step on his toes or try to run things my way. He knew I was a team player and I'm going to do what my head coach wants of me. So our relationship worked great in that aspect. He has a lot of great ideas. He's a very bright mind. I've learned a lot from him. And to make it simple on our kids, there's a lot of things in my offensive style and my coaching style that he had already started implementing with our kids. So now it's my responsibility to not completely eradicate everything, his vision, but to take his vision with a lot of my principles and the things that I want to see going forward and continue that growth. And of course, just add my personal touch to it since it's officially now my program. But you know, I can't take anything away from what Coach Ojeda started here. He did a masterful job of, you know, getting these kids to buy in and putting coaches around these kids who the kids could buy into and really wanted to work for.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I like that theory. It's not, maybe early on, it's not about the wins and losses. It's giving the kids a place, a stable place, as you mentioned. But speaking of the kids, is there, as you look over your roster, is there guys we need to keep an eye out for, or who you're kind of excited about, maybe on the offensive or defensive side of the ball?
You know what? Offensively, you know, we're returning an all-district center, Theophile Sabimana. He's a junior right now. He'll be a senior next year, so he's a returning all-district selection from last year. Who he's a kid, and even talking to him right now, he's throwing the shot put in track for us. So he's a kid that I'm also the head track coach. So, you know, I deal with these kids on a daily basis, you know, in multiple sports. And so he's a kid that, you know, I talk to outside of track and in between about being a leader. And he's a kid that I definitely feel we can build around because he's reliable. He's there every day. He works hard, and he has shown tremendous progress over the last couple of years. And I can start to sense that he wants that now. And for me, offensively, I feel that our middle three of our line, we're returning 2 starting guards and our center. The anchor of our offensive line, I think, is where we're going to be built best. Surrounding those three with, you know, other athletes, running backs, quarterbacks, receivers. You know, if you ask any football coach, it doesn't matter what play you draw up. If you can't block it, it's not going to work. And defensively, we return a 2-year starter at defensive end in Thien Bo. His sophomore year, he actually led our district in sacks. Last year, he wasn't a surprise to anybody, so he had a little rougher time making as many plays as he wanted. But you know, he's an animal in the weight room. He works hard. He's out there throwing, you know, the shot put in discus. So his footwork, technique, everything's getting so much improved. He's improving in the weight room. So he's definitely a piece on the defensive front that I feel is going to be one of our strong points of our team this year.
You say it sounds like things are looking good in the trenches, which is always a good place to start. Like you said, not only can you protect a quarterback, less people get hurt in the backfield there too if nobody's touching them and getting their uniform.
Right, absolutely.
So you're in a unique situation where you have 2 other brothers that are also Texas high school football coaches. Is this a deal where you got, you know, midnight on a Wednesday, you can call them up, maybe do a 3-way call and kind of pick the brains and figure out what works over here, maybe it'll work here. Hey, this is what's working for me, brother. Maybe this will work for you.
Oh, nah, you know what? You would think it would be a lot more like on a daily basis, weekly basis. You know, with all 3 of us being coaches, we know the schedule's crazy. The hours are crazy. With families and kids, everything at home. We definitely don't want to pull from each other and each other's families. But no, definitely. Both of my brothers have been an instrumental part in my growth professionally. I'm their biggest fans. Any chance I get, I mean, obviously going to El Paso from Houston's not an easy trip for a weekend game. but definitely, constantly looking at their scores, seeing how they're doing. Anytime I'm back in El Paso to visit family, I definitely go watch and check out Pebble Hill's off season and see how they're doing. Because family, that's something we're never going to get rid of. We're always going to be brothers. We love each other. We support each other. We're each other's biggest fans. But there's always something you can take away. I know anytime I call, they'll answer. Anytime I have a question, I know they'll be there for me. And likewise, if there's, anytime they have a question or want to know something, they know I'll give them an honest answer. A lot of times it does make for great conversations over the holidays when we're all in town together.
Perfect. I tell you what, thanks for joining us. It was great to meet you, Coach, and good luck the rest of this season.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.